Welcome to We Love Deck Builders, the podcast dedicated to empowering deck industry pros to construct a thriving business. Join your host, April Edwards, founder of Deck Builder Marketers, as she brings you a cheat sheet of industry secrets and strategies that promise to boost your deck building business. Whether you're a battle-tested pro or just starting your entrepreneurial journey, this podcast is your arsenal for expert insights and actionable advice. So tune in and let's carve a path to business growth, one insight at a time.
All right, we are live streaming. So welcome back to the We Love Deck Builders podcast, your go-to podcast for mastering the business side of decking. I'm April Edwards, CEO and growth strategist at Deck Builder Marketers, dedicated to helping you craft the business you deserve. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Andy Henley, the visionary behind Hen-House Decks and one of Ohio's premier award-winning deck building companies. Andy has not only built a thriving business, but also a brand synonymous with high quality craftsmanship and innovative designs. He is a sought after speaker at events like Deck Expo and has a regular column called Tools and Technology in the Deck Specialist magazine. Beyond his professional achievements, Andy is dedicated. He's a dedicated community member, actively supporting local youth sports and running Alexis Pantry, a charitable organization named in memory of his late sister. So let's get to learn about some of Andy's success secrets. Andy, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, I appreciate you inviting me. I have my little friend. She's not going to sit the whole time, but this is my newest family member. This is Daisy. She is a French bulldog. She's awesome. She's also a pain in the ass because she's a puppy, but we're working through that. So, but I'm going to go ahead and put her down.
We've got a problem with the live stream, and I really want people to join in so they can ask questions.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec to pull this up. I hope we get some good questions. Almost there, guys. I know it's so exciting to watch me.
Easy questions.
Yeah. Okay. Trial and error. We still have Andy and we've got a lot to go over. So we're going to get to it. You guys can always see for anybody that is seeing the live stream on Facebook, ask some questions and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Otherwise, definitely check out and listen to the podcast later. And we will always get back to you with any questions that you have. But Andy, let's start at the beginning. Can you share with us how Hen-House Decks got its start?
Yeah. So, I started it's kind of a long story. We'll make it somewhat short. I started my career framing houses and kind of liked it, but also was more of that guy that would just be a chatty Cathy during the whole process. And I want to know why they put a door there. Why is this window there? What, just kind of more asking questions than just doing work. So, I'm sure most guys that have a business and they have employees, they don't want that employee to keep asking them a million questions. They pay them to get the job done. So I wasn't my cup of tea, and I don't think I was their cup of tea. But silver lining in how I got out of that, which is a weird silver lining, is I actually have had 2 brain surgeries, and I've had a stroke during one of them. And that was during that process of framing houses. And when that happened, I could no longer frame houses. So the silver lining was I didn't have to do it anymore. And I think it was mutual for both of us. But I've always had the gift of the gab. And after I did recovery and rehab, and a lot of people don't know it, half my face is numb. This whole part of my face is numb. I can't feel anything. And I know the question everybody's like, if we hit you in the face, can you feel it? No, I can't, but don't do it. So it was a pretty long recovery. It was probably 3 or 4 years. Some of it I don't even remember. It was really weird. But I needed a job, so I took a job, and looking in the newspaper, it said decking material salesman. I was like, well, I like to talk, and I was in the construction field, so let's do that. So that ended up being a job selling ProCell decking. And those of you that don't know what ProCell decking is, it is actually AZAC deck now. So before AZAC was a product called ProCell, and that product was kind of a new product that came out on the market when all the composites were failing miserably. So it was kind of a tough job because here I am, a guy showing a product and selling everybody its products and sliced bread. But, that conversation with those contractors that I was meeting when I was selling that product had already been told, that kind of sold a bill of goods on best things in sliced bread. So it was a tough sale, but I ended up finding a passion in it. I ended up finding my love for the industry. And then after AZAC consumed up that pro sell, I took a job as working with a deck builder that I met through my connections with the pro sell stuff. And then from there, I've worked with a couple other deck builders in my market. And
hold on, how old were you when you made that transition?
24, maybe.
Okay.
23, 24, maybe 24, 25, somewhere around there. Enough to think I knew it all. You know what I mean? So, that what's that Blink-182 song? Nobody likes you when you're 23. That was about right around that time frame.
Yeah.
But there, I did project managing, business growth, sales, things like that. And I just found that there was a lack of creativity, and I always had a vision going back to when I was framing houses. Hey, why are we doing this? Why I kept, and ultimately in about 2006, 17, I ended up parting ways with my former company that I worked with, and I created Hen-House Decks with the vision of, wanting to just be me, selling and designing decks. I'm not really even selling them. I'm giving people an experience with the project of making the deck more than just a deck, which is my slogan, right? It's not just a deck, it's a Hen-House deck. And I've always went in there. I could have taken the easy approach and just gave them what they wanted, cookie cutter in and out. It's probably the smartest thing I probably could have did, to be honest with you. But instead, I sat there in the kitchen table. I would design with the computer program. And I'd be there for 2 hours redesigning a deck, showing them samples, going out, measuring it, come back in. There were some times where the people would order pizza and we'd sit there and eat pizza and design a deck when I was real young. Now I just take the stuff home and work at home. Back then, struggle was real. I wouldn't leave until we were satisfied with what we were getting. And then sometimes I'd price them low. Sometimes I'd price them high. I didn't know. And I just had to learn as I went. So that's how Hen-House Decks got started. And here I am.
Yeah.
So,
well, a true visionary wouldn't just go for the easiest thing. So yeah, I think that's a good segue into talking about the types of projects that you like to get and what really makes, your approach unique.
Yeah. I take the approach of the artistry. I believe that this decking industry, there's an art to it. There's craftsmanship. There's an art to building. There's an art to designing. There's an art to being a product specialist and knowing the products, knowing how they work, knowing the warranties, and how to be very quick on your feet when you're at the sales appointment of telling the customers. And with all that, I think, most of my customers, they'll hire me because I think they look at me and they go, this guy wants the deck more than we want the deck. And that's the one we want to hire, because it's, I'm so passionate when I'm out there that, they can see that. I'm not just a salesman to them. I am a deck guru who they have brought out, and they trust what I'm telling them, which is how I've been able to get some of my creative projects. I probably tell more people I've never done that before, but I'm not afraid to do it. And just because we haven't done something doesn't necessarily mean that we can't. And those people trust me, and we will spend a little bit of extra time on that project and going back to before. And even sometimes now, I'd like to say I get top dollar for everything. I don't, right? There's some things that I do. We don't know how long it's going to take. We do it to our full potential. And I think I've gave a reasonable, good price. Sometimes I walk away thinking that was great. Sometimes I walk away and I think, man, I need to charge more for that next time. But I've learned something through the process. And really the marketing I get from it is ridiculous. Like the marketing experience and the dollars that I get back from that, I think outweigh actually what the cost of what I charge them was for anyways. So.
Awesome. That's really great I just want to dissect that for a minute. Obviously you're doing your own sales, right? You're going to meeting with the clients and
myself and actually my brother. A fun fact about Hen-House Decks. So let's clear the air with, I might have a chicken. I don't think you'd see it from my thing here, but I got a chicken tattooed on me. I don't have an obsession with chickens. All right. But where the hen house comes from is my family names, Henley and Greathouse. So I have taken, the Henley, and I took Greathouse, and there you go. There's Hen-House Decks. And I really take pride in that because a lot of my family works for me. I have two dads, but, stepdad, and I have a biological dad. They both
bonus
work for
dad.
me. Yeah, I got a bonus dad. One's Henley, one's Greathouse, right? And kind of stem from that. And They both will work for me. And my brother does sales for me. My brother-in-laws are my carpenters. Their uncle is a supplier. I've had cousins work for us. I have a brother that lives in Australia. He's actually came here and worked for us a couple times. So, this isn't just a name. This is my family. This is my business. I'm not going to, I want that name to stand for integrity. I don't want it to be those guys are ripoffs, because that's my family names, both of them. I could have just went Henley Decks and then said, screw it, I'll be Great House Decks. But I put both of them up there, so.
Yeah, you're quite the family man. And I think that your personality really shines in your brand. And then, just your overall approach and bringing that to the table. I have to imagine the experience that people have when they meet you is very impressionable, because when you're passionate about something, that inspires other people. So I would love to sit in on a sales call with you, or an in-home consultation. It sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's, I think I was with somebody, I forget who it was. I think it was Jerry Tracy. I don't know if people might know Jerry. He's a super old G in the industry. He might have just retired, but he worked for Nailco at one point, and then I think that's U.S. Lumber now. But anyways, I was riding with Jerry one time way back when I first started, and somebody called me on a sales call, and I said, do you mind? And I did the whole sales pitch, and not necessarily, it was more of like a lead qualifying phone call, not a sales pitch. And, he listened to that, and he told me he was very impressed with, he said it was about the best sales approach lead setup that he's ever said, that he's ever heard. And that made me feel good, because this is a guy that knows a lot of people. And since then, I think just with experience in doing it, I would say our lead process of talking with people is very clutch right now. And I think for anybody listening, that's an important first impressions, even if they don't see you. It's just that phone call. Anybody can have an ad in the paper or even a cool website. I have a great website. I think I know somebody that I'm talking to that helps me run it too. So, but my website is so killer, and it shows a lot of personality. That's as far as it could go. I could just be a stick in the mud when you call me, and all the value of the character that my company offers just goes out the window. So I think that first phone call and you're talking to somebody, I think right then and there, they know when they get off that phone that they're hiring you. I truly believe that, or they want to hire you.
Yeah. I mean, it's about the entire experience. And I just love that you bring that up, because it's easy to think about how amazing you build a deck or what your customer service is like, but to really look at it from that very first touch point that they have with you, and then to carry it forward to the next one when they have a conversation with you, you're truly caring about the entire experience. And that is amazing. And I think that's something to, really value, and something that stands out with you in general is that you're not just building a deck, you're creating an entire experience now and, for people to enjoy in the future. And it's just amazing that your passion sticks out like that. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, let's talk about some other things. Everybody knows you for the guitar deck. Apart from that, or even if you want to talk about that, and if you guys don't know about it, we'll have to share a photo. But what do you think have been some of the most interesting or challenging projects that your team has worked on?
Yeah, so I would definitely say the guitar deck was certainly a challenging project. And it wasn't a challenging project because, first off, if you haven't seen the guitar deck, it is pretty cool. Just type in guitar deck on Google. It'll come. It was my Mona Lisa of my career, pretty much. We were young, ambitious. I was starting it. I think I built that deck in 2019. I had just kind of started my new vision in 2017. So there was a little bit of growing and stuff. It was a big risk. I underbid it. If I'm being honest, I probably should have sold it for more, but I was so excited to see that come across the table. I can't take credit for the vision behind that. There was an architect. He designed it. They planned it out. The homeowner was like, I want this guitar. We just need to find the right guys. Now, where they say we need to find the right guys, that's where I can take credit for it, because I hounded this guy when I saw this plan. I put a bid so good together, they couldn't turn it down. And I came out with a game plan. I researched. We looked up pictures of Stratocasters, and we noticed, hey, in this design that you have laid out, we need to take one of those frets and we need to turn it a little bit. If we're going to make this authentic, let's roll with it. And hey, let's use this product because these colors are fantastic. And, I'm blessed that I have such a great carpenter that works for me. I have 3 main carpenters, and to be honest with you, I'm blessed I have all 3 of them. Anybody be lucky to have just one of them. I got 3. That's, I don't know what I did upstairs, but I'm grateful. But my one guy, Kenny, he's a wizard. I think the framing was probably the most challenging on that, because there was a lot of pieces and parts and colors. And, and you got to frame it, and you have to have that vision while you're doing it. And Kenny made it look easy. I know deep down he was struggling for him, but man, I was stressing me out, and he made it look so easy. So, I would say that was a challenging job for me as a business owner, but setting myself up with the right people around me really made that job go pretty smooth. And I mean, there's been other jobs that have been challenging as well, but I think we just grow on every one of them. Something on a job is a pain in the butt, and I don't want to it's something that we're like, oh, why'd we get into this? But you know what? Next time we run into that situation, we understand and know how to adjust and fix that. So, I would say that guitar deck was probably the most challenging because of our experience, but I don't mean that in like we weren't experienced. It was just more of, that was a big boy project. That was like my first big boy project. So
yeah, the framing is really amazing. I've heard you talk about like how you wish you didn't have to cover it because the framing looks so great.
Yeah, the framing alone was gorgeous. So
awesome. Well, I guess there are challenges with having issues, but learning from them is very valuable, whether or not it's in your control or out of your control. I think as business owners, we learn how to proactively solve issues before they come up and to help mitigate them. And so there's definitely a lot of value to be had by pushing yourself and learning from it and, and growing from all of those situations. So when it comes to learning, what do you think your biggest learning opportunity as a business owner?
Yeah. So, I think there's a lot of different answers to that. And when you ask me that question, there's one thing that jumps out of my mind. And, it's not like learning to find a good marketing company, learning to find good relationships with manufacturers or what's the best product. For me, the biggest learning thing that I've learned is how to balance my work life and my personal life. I struggle with that still to this day. I've taken life classes. I've done a lot of things that have tried to put me in the direction of how to help with that balance. And it's definitely been improving. It's definitely getting to where I'm finding that peace where I can finally disconnect from what it is that I'm doing. But as a business owner, people always say it must be nice having your own business. And, there are perks of having your own business. When it's good, it's good. But what people don't realize is that, blood pressure medicine, I have anxiety, these are things that happen as you're running a business. I mean, everybody else can move on with their lives. I am Hen-House Decks, and I mean that candidly because I'll contradict myself. Probably, I say I'm Hen-House Decks. It's my company and my name and everything on there, but my guys are what makes Hen-House Decks too. So I'm not just Hen-House Decks. My whole crew and team is Hen-House Decks. But that being said, it's my responsibility to make sure that my guys have paychecks. They have food on their tables. They want to live their lives. They want to get loans. They want to enjoy the perks of living too. And a lot of that pressure falls on top of me and on top of my own life situations I've got two little kids, I got 7 and a 10-year-old, and there's challenges in being a parent like everybody has. You throw the stress of a day and then you get home and I would find myself being cranky or irritable because I had a stressful day at work. And I would take it out on them. That's not fair to my children. They didn't do anything. They just want to see dad, right? So that was where I kind of feel the learning thing for me as a business. I think it's something that's swept under the rug a lot. And a lot of guys, they'll say, oh, the learning how to, measure twice and cut once was I found was the best thing to do for my learning experience. But I think if you're a business owner, young, old, anywhere in your career, that balance between work and your personal life, is, I think, one of the most important things because it's at the end of the day, that's why we work, is for our family and our life. So
I think it's really easy to get stuck in a pattern of like, you're so used to working so hard, right? I think that a lot of us start off and work 1 million hours a week, until we are able to get to a place where we can start to delegate things and really focus on our brilliance. But I think the name of the game is like being intentional with your life, with yourself, with the decisions that you make, how you use your time. And it's not easy. And it seems like it would be because we're our own boss, right? Which I always say I'm my own, like I have the worst boss ever, but
me too.
It's not easy to do. And I think so much of it as you grow is a mind shift, and you have to be aware of that and make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to take care of you so that you can take care of everyone else.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Accountability. That's a huge word, right? And as a business owner, and really anything in life. But I mean, my experience is being a business owner, and as a business owner, it's somebody's got to hold myself accountable, and nobody, my guys and my workers, they do what they're told to do to a certain degree, right? But nobody holds me under the fire because it's not their gig, it's my gig at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's always a struggle, because you hope that the decisions that you're making and the vision that you have is the best decision for your business and for your employees and for your customers and for your family. Sometimes you get that overwhelmingness feeling in you, and I'm not afraid to take a risk. I think I'm where I'm at in my life because I've taken that risk, and I'll continue to take risks. But with those risks, there is worry. I'm sure, April, you're a business owner. You've had a vision for a long time, and I bet it didn't come easy, right? And I bet people told you were crazy, right? Or, if I had a nickel when I was trying to start this up, just my mom would say, you should just go work at a lumber yard, and they could offer 401k and you'd have a steady paycheck every week. That was never my vision. And I stayed true to myself, and I'm grateful that I did that, but it did come with a price. But in the end, I am proud of what I've built, so.
Yeah. And I just love that you keep saying vision, because it's so easy for us to just kind of go into a business with these ideas of we're going to do it better, or, I want to have more freedom, but it's hard work. So if you don't have a vision, you're going to get lost, and probably give up.
It is. And the hard work comes from getting people to trust your vision too, like sometimes I've had this vision and been told I'm crazy, or they just don't understand it. Or when you say, from mine, it's when they say hard work. The hard work has been barreling down and focusing and keeping the vision strong, right? It wasn't like going out and moving lumber from one side to the other. And the hard work came with a mindset of don't fall, fight. You know what I mean? Like, you want to keep your vision, don't let it fade away. So, and that's some people don't understand that unless they have that, so.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to dissect on that one.
Again, that's probably another episode.
Take good care of yourself so that you can be. I feel like I'm a cheerleader for my husband, my kids, my team, my clients. And it's like I got to protect my energy so that I can give back to everybody else, and it's not always easy. What are some strategies or practices that have attributed to your success and how you've been able to maintain your growth?
Going back to saying I focus on the artistry of a project, I've set myself by being different. I'm not a cookie cutter company. My strategy has always been try to be different, try to offer something a little bit more than the other guy offers. It could be, back in the day, it was, let's put a border on a deck. It was weird. Like, there was a time where nobody put borders on. We just had exposed edges, and then you'd paint it and call it a day. And then, I did it, but we started doing borders on decks, and, I probably saw it from somebody else. So then next thing you know, it's standard. Everybody's doing a border on there. Mm-hmm. And then we thought, hey, let's picture frame our steps, because what you would do is you'd do a border on a deck, and then you'd still cut your treads, and they'd expose. I like to overhang everything. I don't like to trap my treads in there with the fascia. So that was what I did. So I would use that as a sales thing. Oh, well, we picture frame our steps. And then after that, it turns into, hey, I put a drink rail on top and blah, blah, blah. And then it just got ridiculous. And then we all had to draw a line, I guess. But from doing that and that experience in doing that, I have found that being unique and offering something different really gives me a leg up when I'm meeting with people. I might not be somebody, some people, they just want basic, and that's cool. Mm-hmm. But, they also respect, or like even if they went basic and they want that basic and they went with the cheapest bid because to them it was just the deck. When I left there, I didn't make it easy for them to decide that, though. And they didn't even know that, and that just shows my passion and my craft and what it is that I'm doing. And I think that's what separates me from the other guys, So
what I'm hearing is passion, like really caring too, and pushing the boundaries too, pushing yourself in your creativity and not being afraid to, maybe make the project more complicated than it needs to be, because it's going to fulfill a creative need and create a better experience and help your clients projects stand out, and of course your work stand out.
For sure.
So you've been involved in some community projects. I want to talk a little bit more about that, especially since you have such a strong differentiator with having a family-run business. You also really help with the community. How has Hen-House Decks influenced, just your personal life in general, and then your role in the community?
Yeah. I would say overall, I do a lot of sponsorships in a sense. I sponsor my son's baseball. I sponsor my daughter's basketball. I've sponsored holes in golf. I've done, right now I'm getting ready to run this thing called Little Mr. and Mrs. Uniontown, which is you just take two children and they get crowned king and queen, and then they get to sit in the back of an old truck that we have, and they throw candy out of the parade. And it is sponsored by me. And, as a marketing company, and this because you're a marketer as well, I used to do this stuff because I wanted people to call Hen-House Decks.
Yeah.
And now I do this because I want to give back to the community. I live in the house that I grew up. I've never left home, and I'm proud of where I come from. And I want to share whatever I can back with the community that provided me the opportunities to get where I'm at today. So when I'm doing this stuff now, I'll still put my name and stuff on it, but I don't want it to be like, oh, we need to get a deck from Hen-House. I want people to see the name Hen-House and not think of, we need to call him, we need a deck. I want them to see the name Hen-House, and I want them to say that, that's a good company that supports the community. And I think in a world that we live in, it's good to stand for something, and I stand for that. So to me, that's where that goes back to my balance. That's really how I can make a balance. It's like, what's the point of having a good name and doing some cool stuff? It's all cool when you get to be recognized for cool projects and blah, blah, blah. But being able to give back and not want anything out of it in return, other than just the sure enjoyment of knowing that you're a part of something, to me is the greatest. That's the best thing I could do, So sponsorships and stuff go for Hen-House. That's kind of my thought process on that.
For anyone watching, I am sick, but rock stars don't not show up.
Don't let her trick you. She's crying because that was touching what I just said.
So when do you think? I mean, have you always sponsored things with the business, or did you get to kind of a certain point where
people ask you, hey, can you sign up for this, sign up for that? And then you don't think anything of it. You just do it. And some of it is like, hey, it's cool. I'm going to put my name in the back of my kid's shirt. Stuff's cool. But I probably started doing it once I had kids and was able to have the opportunity to do so. I've gave back to my, I used to wrestle. That was my jam when I was growing up. And then it was still my jam until I had those brain surgeries, right? So it was a big part of my life that I think helped molded me. And I'm forever grateful for that. So I've always gave back to that sport in one way or another of supporting a golf outing or whatever I can do at the time of whatever my financial allowed me to do, But I think it mostly started when I had kids and started being more involved with my community, to be honest with you, because this is where they grow up, this is their lives now.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about Alexis Pantry and what's going on there, especially if there's anybody in our local area?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So Alexis's Pantry, it is, how that got started is I had a sister, 2020, my sister had passed away. She actually suffered from anorexia. That's a difficult disease. It's a disease we don't understand. It's something where it took me a long time to understand, because you see this person, they're killing themselves, literally. And, you look at that and say, why are you doing this to yourself? It's almost hard to feel bad for the person, because it's like, well, they did it to themselves, So that took a long time to come to grasp with that. And I did a lot of research on it and finally understood that it's a mental illness. And a mental illness is certainly something that you wouldn't recommend to anybody, But when she passed, we wanted to do something important and kind of like a tribute almost in a sense to her, and something that kind of keeps her name alive. So actually, there's a couple things that I do with her that I'll bring up. And the one is called Alexis's Pantry. And Alexis's Pantry is not necessarily a partnership, but she's actually the one that started it. And I just help kind of promote it a little bit. But my insurance agent, her name is Mindy Covington. She does a great job. She has it up front of her store, which, by the way, I live 4 doors down. So I see it every day I drive by. And she's got it up there. She's got a little tribute to my sister up there. And the way the pantry works is non-perishable goods go into the pantry. If you have cleaning out your kitchen and you have non-perishables, or if there's a sale at the store, or if you just want to give back or want to have something to put in there for people that maybe there's people that are struggling, and people don't necessarily want to say they don't have money for food. This is a place where you can go in there, take as you want, leave what you want. It's just a place that kind of gives back to those in need. And I think it was a good fit for my sisters, kind of a tribute. My sister was a very caring person. I bet you this is something that she loves. So, that's kind of Alexis's Pantry. I have a vision to maybe grow that a little bit. There's other, that's not an original idea, but I would like to get more Alexis's Pantries, at least around the community, where we at least call it the Alexis Pantry, so I can keep her name alive. Another thing that we do is we have an Alexis Henley Memorial Scholarship. And my dad runs that. And every year I donate money to that, a good chunk of money to that, by the way. And that is to a graduate of the local high school we're at. That's a scholarship that they get for that year. I mean, it might be a $3,000 scholarship or $2,000, something like that. But it's good enough for books and anybody that needs it. So that's something that we take pride in. And I also have a vision of building that up a little bit more. So,
well, hopefully
yes,
people spread the word, you guys, and see if you're interested. You can hit Andy up on social media, ping him, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to support that.
Yeah, 100%. There's a fun fact too. I'm a visionary. You've even brought that up, that I have used the word vision a lot, right? And I'm creative thinking and putting that talent that I have in terms of being a visionary, in a sense. I have actually written a children's book for my sister. I've never got it published. I'd like to see if I can get it published. I have a prototype children's book, and it's called Bad Luck Lex. Because my sister, when she was on Facebook, when she was kind of going through things, she would always write, went to the park today, it was raining, bad luck, hashtag bad luck Lex, something like that as an example, right? And, one evening I was just thinking, man, that'd be a cute little children's book of a little girl with her dog, and it's called Bad Luck Lex. And the whole premises of it is, like, the book that I wrote was Bad Luck Lex Goes to a Party. And it's all about how she's prepping everything for the party. She gets to the party, and the ice cream melted, the balloons popped, and blah, 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 blah. And she thought the whole day was ruined, but at the end of the day, everybody at the party helped her reset it back up, and they ended up making cupcakes, and it ended up being a great day. You know what I mean? Like something, it's a children's book, right? Yep. But so I actually had that made, and I gave it to my mom for Christmas.
Oh my gosh!
So I thought that was
God.
So
I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
It was really cool, and I'd like to take it somewhere. I don't know. I've got a lot going on in my world, but just to kind of put that in perspective, I'm trying to open up Andy's Pandora box here and let you guys in on kind of what I do. So
he's got a lot more ideas too. I've heard them.
I have tons.
Yeah.
Well, even that book, even the children's book, I could make like 12 of those things with different scenarios. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm writing my first book, so I'll let you know how it goes, and maybe I could give you some tips on.
Give you a publication or something. Yeah, I just think it'd be cool. Yeah. So
Cool. So running a successful business, you've mentioned, is so much about your team. So how do you recognize and develop top talent for Hen-House Decks so that, you're getting the high quality work you need and making sure everyone's happy?
Gotcha. And I hate to take this cop out of saying the vision, but, I've had a strong vision, and I try to bring that to these guys. And, I'll send them little video snippet of a lot of my peers and a lot of ideas that I've seen from other people, some ideas I've thought of myself. I asked them for their opinion. And I think, as I started doing more unique stuff, the guys realized that my vision is good, and they trust that. And they know that I'm looking for that little more detail than the average person. And it's cool to see them now starting to have that passion that I have of actually, instead of it just being a deck to them now, it is a Hen-House deck. They want to put that little bit of oomph in it. Some of my guys, they'll go off and build decks for people they know, or they'll, little side projects from here to here. I actually embrace it. I mean, I can't stop it, so I might as well embrace it. They can use the company trucks, things like that. I mean, it is what it is. But even they'll say when they're doing their own projects, they're just decks, but when they come to Hen-House, it's a Hen-House deck. And they know that because all of us together make a Hen-House deck. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I mean, if you go onto my website, you go to Instagram, you go to anything that has pictures of our work, you can understand what that means. I mean, it's just something different. It could be colors that you never even thought would make sense, and then they made sense, or they don't still make sense, but somehow they look good. So, and that's kind of where we are. And that's in that vision and that passion that I've had has rubbed off on the guys that are building it. And that then from them has rubbed off on their helpers, who's rubbed off all the way. I just hired a new kid, a lake rustler, by the way. That's my vision, is to hire some young rustlers. But he started working for us. And, he even told me yesterday, I asked him, I said, how's it going? It's his first week. He said, this is awesome. It's like that brotherhood you have in anything that you do. He goes, everybody's nice. I just feel like I'm part of a team. I feel like this is all, I want the guy that's cleaning out the trucks at the end of the day to stop at the job site to clean up the trash and, and get all that debris out of there, to look at that deck and be like, wow, I'm part of this, and that's, and that's cool. It doesn't make a difference if it's the number that my top contractor or that guy that's picking up the trash. They all have, now they're sending me videos of other decks that people are doing, saying, check this out, and that's cool. I love that. So
awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's very powerful, and having clear core values and making sure that each person resonates with those, I think makes a pretty big difference. I've also heard you talk about bringing people to some of your team members to the award, the deck awards down in Clearwater. I would love for you just to share that with the audience, because I think it's important.
Oh, it's 100% important. You could go there, and I've said it before, I could just say, hey, I'm Hen-House Decks, and I could take the glory of doing a really cool project and going up on stage and getting that plaque and showing the world, look what I did, right? But I didn't do that. I mean, I did in a certain sense, but in the end of the day, my team did that. My company did that. And I've invited a few different guys, and I have a plan to invite a couple more this upcoming year. And it was really powerful to bring them there, and they see and they feel the magic, in a sense, in the air that Nadra has to offer, of all of the people that are like-minded. I mean, decks are cool, and I have a cool and funky way of doing my decks. So to the general public, they're probably cool to look at, and they're cool to see, and some are pretty. This one that's behind me, this was a gorgeous project, right? But at the end of the day, people don't want to sit down and have a beer and talk about decks. I mean, who wants to do that, But not our industry. I'd go to these events, and we could talk about a camo edge clip for an hour and a half, and have to stop talking about it to do something else, And I think it was cool for those guys to go there and see like-minded people and see that what they're doing is working, and the notoriety that they're getting as a whole, and they don't even know it until they went there. There was a lot of times, the one guy I took there, he had no idea that Hen-House was even a household name, in a sense. I'm not trying to pompous in a sense. I'm just saying, we were a popular builder there, in a sense, and he'd have no idea, and it was cool, and that was, I think that spun his passion into it as well now too. So really inspiring your team and lifting them up too, right? Because they're the reason that you won the award. My team's the reason I'm sitting here today talking to you, right? Like, if just like they need me, I need them, right? They could be the best carpenters in the world, but if they don't have a vision and they don't have a way of telling the world what they do, they're just a good carpenter. And I could be a guy that just has a good vision but can't deliver, right? So we need each other, and we know that. And I think that there's a lot of value in understanding where people are and what their talents are, and just trusting the process of what it is that each individual has to offer. You know what I mean? I don't question them. They don't question me. I mean, they question me, but overall they don't, I do get my balls busted a lot. I'm gonna be honest. They do bust my balls pretty good, but I mean, it's part of the game.
I've had to learn that as a visionary, all of your ideas aren't amazing, and sometimes it can be difficult to actually bring them to life. But there's always one really, really good idea that people will.
There is, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was, who was it? I don't know if it was Thomas Edison, but let's just say I could be making this up what I'm about to say, or it could be true. I don't know. But I feel like someone told me that Thomas Edison, they asked him how many, or I forget how the story goes, but anyways, it's like he took 2,000 times to make the light bulb. And they said he failed 2,000 times making the light bulb. And he said, no, I just found 2,000 ways on how not to make a light bulb. And I think those are like two different ways of thinking, and I'm kind of the guy of saying, I've had this vision. I've had all these things. I think it's great. It might not be, but one of them's going to stick. I promise you, but I got to keep going and trying until one happens, and then hopefully you get lucky and you get more. So, and that's actually probably how Hen-House started. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, could you give us a little sneak peek into, what the next year and beyond looks like for Hen-House Decks? Ooh.
Yeah, kind of. I've got some pretty cool projects coming down the woodworks right now. I don't know. I mean, I've had some pretty cool ones throughout the year, but like my real cool ones, they're like, we're on them right now. It's weird. Like normally I have them consistent throughout the year. It's a fantastic year, but like the cool, like I think maybe Nadra winners, they're all going on right now. And then after that. So it's going to be a crazy August for sure. I have teamed up with an individual. I'll keep it private right now, but I have teamed up with an individual who has designed me something that is fantastic. And I got a green light on that. I just got to put the logistics and everything together, but it is a jaw dropper. And it's been that person and mine's goal to go up on Nadra's stage someday together and hold up an award. So we'll cross our fingers and hope that I don't want to get ahead of myself and I'd be disappointed, but just seeing what it is and knowing how my guy Ken is going to construct this thing, it's going to be killer. It'll certainly, I would put it in guitar deck category to a certain degree, but I would put it in that category. So It's pretty cool. So yeah, I would say stay tuned on that, but this individual, we might just kind of keep it in our back pocket until the awards too. So we'll see.
Ooh, You're planting a seed. I love it. Now I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, where will people see you next? Are you going to be speaking at Deck Awards?
So I will be at Deck Expo. And
that's what I meant.
Yeah, I didn't know what you meant. Well, I mean, I kind of did, but then I thought, wait, am I missing something? I know everything, right? But no, Deck Expo, I should be on the floor speaking with the power panel again. And, this year is going to be exciting because there's a couple new people, new faces, a lot of new things to talk about. We'll start re-promoting that pretty soon here. I've built a really good bond with Mike Mitchell and Brendan Casey. I just vacationed with Mike Mitchell not too long ago, and that's what this industry brought. And his daughter, my daughter, good buddies. It's just crazy how this is my deck family. It's like when you go to Deck Expo or Nadra or wherever, it's like a family reunion. So cool. Like these are the people. It's like, this is your world that you're in, But, I'm excited to do that power panel. Those two guys are in it with them. Anytime you can be in those guys' presence, it's a good day. I write with Deck Specialist Magazine, Tools Technology. The issue just dropped, actually. We just reviewed the demo deck tool. It's a pretty cool tool. If anybody's looking to a fast, more efficient way of demoing their deck, I would certainly go and look at that article and read about Mike Mitchell and my experience and how we used it. And it was overall a very good product. And then that column that we write, those are real columns, and those are real. We're hands-on. These people don't pay us to write these, and they'll send us the tool, which is cool. But we also tell them, look, we're going to give an honest review on this. If we don't like it, we're going to tell the viewers we don't like the product. But overall, what we'd probably, if we really didn't like it, we'd message them back and say, listen, not the product for us. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so anybody reading that, I just want them to know that is authentic. That is not something that is, just something that we're getting paid to do and we have to make it sound good. No, that is an authentic review. It's got field experience with multiple people touching the tools. My guys get annoyed because I ask them so much, how do they like something and what do they like about it, what they don't. I've been out there trying it, and I'm not a guy that swings the hammer as much anymore. So I've physically played with the tools and stuff too. So check us out on Deck Specialist Magazine as well. In April, I think you got a column in there too. So
yeah. Awesome. And then, of course, if anybody wants to reach out to you, could they ping you on social, or what would be the best way?
Yeah, so my Instagram, I had to write it down because I always forget. It's Hen-House_Decks. And Facebook is, I think it's just at Ohio Decking. I think that's how it is. I'm pretty sure you can find me that way. Or just type in Hen-House Decks in the search box, either way. And ohiodecking.com is my website. Check that website out. That website is sweet. I get more compliments on this website than pretty much anything. I mean, it probably overshadows the guitar deck in my website. So, I mean, more people are like, wow, this website is, I mean, if my exit strategy someday could be selling this website. So, so it's pretty cool. So,
yeah, sweet. Well, do you have any final words of wisdom for any of our listeners, whether they're just starting out or been in the industry for a while? We'd love to hear straight from you, if you've got any nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, I've touched base on it a bunch of times. I mean, trust yourself, trust who you are, have a vision, stick with that vision, trust your own process, find a good team and build your business around that team. And the biggest thing I'd say is chase the dream, not the money, because the money will come. It's cool to make money, but you know what's even cooler? Making money living your dream. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. So, and in order to do that, you gotta chase the dream first. You gotta barrel down and have that vision and stick with it. And it will pay off someday. I'm living proof that it pays off in a sense. I mean, it worked good for me. I've got a lot to learn and a lot to grow from still, but, I definitely got myself to the level of Hen-House that I've always wanted. And now I can create a whole new vision of how I go farther from where I'm at now. So it's cool.
Yeah. Love it. Well, keep up the good work. And for all of our listeners, tune into the next episode, and as always, keep moving forward.
Bye. Right on. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Hey, deck building community. Enjoyed the show? Hit subscribe and give us your thoughts. We love hearing from you. Ready to level up your business? Visit deckbuildermarketers.com. Check out our services and let's build your success together. Don't forget to download our free guides. They're a game changer. Thanks for tuning in to We Love Deck Builders, and see you on the next episode.